Hello, for more from Things Invest. Talk about investing, finance, and professionalism. For today's items only, the investment talk today will be Ethereum ticker ETH. First, I want to say happy Tuesday, everybody. Have a great week so far. With respect to recording time of 9:12 a.m. on the Eastern Time, Ethereum currently $3,028, up about 1.03% so far. With respect to overall crypto market and the equity market, it seems like it's rebounding from the, relatively massive sell-off that we've had yesterday, right? Mainly driven by the 6 factors, right? And just to remind you guys, if you guys watch my 3 videos that I said yesterday, and also again, really appreciate the kind notes that you guys collectively given me. I'm feeling much better now, so I really appreciate you guys for, caring about me. So this is means a lot. So with respect to the 6 factors, again, one is the investor's fear among the contagion sweeping financial markets from the troubled China property market, right? With respect to the China Evergrande Group on the brink of default or bankruptcy, if you may, right? Which subsequently drive the Hang Seng Index out of Hong Kong to plunge about 4% on Monday, which is basically 2 days ago. And respect to the other factor is the Federal Reserve, which has a 2 meetings today, the FOMC meeting on the 21st and the 22nd, which we'll hear more from Jerome Powell on the quantitative tapering plan, on how is the Fed's going to be triangulating, obviously, the asset purchasing, the $120 billion that we're going to be doing on a monthly basis to sustain our economy going forward, right? And that is going to be contingent on the job numbers that's going to be coming out on a monthly basis. So that could have a subsequent correlation effects to the equity market, and will have an anti-correlation effects to the crypto market, if you may, right? The other effect would be the COVID variants case. It seems like it's spiking. It's reaching the comparable level that we were experiencing back in January. So it seems like we're back to square one, back to basically the beginning of this year now, despite the weather getting colder domestically in the US. So something that we have to definitely be cautious about. But with respect to just New York City, as I've been observing this morning and the past week so far, it seems like, people are going back to work. Students are going back to school. The traffic on the highway is definitely becoming more robust in comparisons to weeks ago now. So it seems like the economy is slowly coming back up, but the COVID variants news seems like it's still, a negative foreshadow we have to be mindful of, right? Another one would be just historical trends with respect to September. Historically has been a negative month, right? Down about 0.4% decline, according to the Stock Traders Almanac. And also with respect to the last effect would be the brinkmanship in DC. With respect to the deadline is approaching to raise the debt ceiling, right? So that's something subsequently will have some anti-correlation effects, and just, frankly, negative investment sentiments, driving some fear mongering, if you may, right? And I forgot to mention with respect to the 7th reason that happened this weekend with respect to Christine Lagarde, with her depictions talking about crypto assets, and I think she named about like 10 specific crypto assets, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin, and XRP, Solana, CARDANO, and etc., as a form of suspicious warning. So that's coming from the European Central Bank president. So obviously, with that affectation, will drive some sell-off from there, right? So it seems like we are going to be pending on the status of the FOMC meeting that's happening today. I know it's going to be a 2 days meeting. So are we going to hear anything specific on the outcome of it today? I don't think we might see a transcript or so, but it's going to be durating for 2 days. So I think technically we should hear more of a confirmation by the 22nd, the latest in the evening by 4 p.m. So something we have to watch out for. Seems like today we are rebounding. So with respect to Ethereum news, I was just reading up the news this morning again. Some other regurgitation news, but are these really substantive? Let's just take a look one by one, shall we? So with respect to one from Fox Business 4 hours ago, talk about cryptocurrencies trading lower. Bitcoin around $43,000, Dogecoin, Ethereum down. So this is basically talk about what happened yesterday that we already have talked about in my last 3 videos, if you may. Another one coming from Decrypts 9 hours ago, Ethereum NFT fantasy soccer game Sorel, if I'm not pronouncing it correct, SORAL, Sorel, raises $680 million. So this is another news talk about the commercializations for the gaming on an NFT Ethereum platform. And then the other one is talk about from Bazinga 12 hours ago, talk about Robinhood, which a lot of investors use, said to be testing a long-awaited wallet, transfer features for crypto like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. So this is going to be a wallet that they're going to be releasing going forward with respect to how viable this is, or is this something that is, a strong value proposition that we can back and believe in. Obviously, with respect to the funkiness that we've experienced for Robinhood, we have to learn more on see how they progress going forward. But this is something that is good to know, and obviously we'll have some adoption, so we have to keep an eye out on. On next news, talk about CNBC 14 hours ago with respect to Jim Cramer. Urges investors to take profits, citing Evergrande-related tether risks. So this is another regurgitation news talking about his, I guess, technical analysis or speculations on why we see more sell-off going forward, right? I think, we don't know if Jim Cramer is incentivized, or is he trying to influence the market to sell off so he could buy at a lower level, or is he collaborating with the large whales or the corporate investors onto driving some fear-mongering among investors, right? So something we have to be mindful of. Ultimately, we are in the business of risk mitigation by dollar cost averaging at the logical levels. So Jim Cramer, he's a public figure. I think some people probably follow him. But again, it's more trivial, and I wouldn't consider this as a substantive, evidentiary support onto selling or buying. I think we just want to take this with a grain of salt, if you may, right? And then the last one that I see on the news front is from Decrypt about 14 hours ago, talk about Ethereum NFT sales yields over 650K for journalistic costs. And this is just a reminder of the Fortunes magazines or Fortunes, the publication companies, on their initializations for contributing to the journalistic costs going forward. So with respect to the overall market, Bitcoin, we have basically rebounded. We try to get down to the next level, and I think the likelihood would be relatively likely, knowing the fact that we are kind of just hovering on a sideways fashion. We have two resistance level, 1, 2, 3. So I think the likelihood of actually selling down in the near term would possibly likely, knowing the fact that the RSI is at the 38.01 right now. There is no curvature forming upward for the MACD right now, and also we have a gap that's formed. So I think going down to the 40 would be likely, but buying right now wouldn't be a bad idea either, because we are technically just maybe a couple percent downward from here. So, and we do have a relatively substantive platform above. But ultimately, you have to hold it for a long term because the gap is relatively large. The next gap is down to be 40. But for me, I do have 3 Bitcoins, 3 whole Bitcoin exactly. So I'm going to wait until the 37, 34, which I think should be likely. But we have to kind of wait until the oscillation on the sideways fashion. Obviously, the technical cools down a little bit, but more of a negative cool down first, and then reverse back to a normalized level, and then we should subsequently get back down there to continue the the market cycles that we've been enduring, right? For Ethereum, again, we are just kind of hovering on a sideways fashion, sustaining the $3,000 mark, which is technically not a real level. The real level is the 3,150. The next level is 3,000. It's more of a flat number because it's a substantial one, right? 3,000, 2,000, 1,000. The real level, again, we tested yesterday to the 2,750, and some of the lucky ones actually, my friends on YouTube actually bought in, so congratulations to you guys, whoever that, actually bought in at that level. And right now we're at the scale of 39.15 out of 70. We are not seeing any curvature at the same time. So the outcome of the FOMC meeting is going to be quite binary, but I think there was an overreaction with respect to the 7 negative affectations of the factors that drove the sell-off yesterday. So I think, 3,000 is not a bad opportunity to buy because we are relatively close to the 35 mark on the RSI scale. So I think right now Ethereum is a relatively good level of dollar cost average if you hold it for a long term. people say like 1500, 1700. That will take us a lot of resistance levels breakdown for us to get there. So I don't think that's really logical. Dogecoin, again, right, per our technical analysis, we know we're gonna bounce at the 20 cents, and that's exactly what happened. And I think we are at the rock bottom at the moment right now. 20 cents was the rock bottom, and we're reversing back upward. We have not crossed up on the MACD versus signal line for a while. So I think Dogecoin is not a bad buy right now, despite the surge we're seeing right now. But again, like the 20 cents is the great rule of thumb, because that's a really, really strong resistance level to dollar cost average at. Cardano, we are just basically hovering on a sideways fashion, try to sustain the upper level. But again, right, we have a large gap that needs to go down to, right? It's a relatively steep drop if we drop below, right? That would be the $1.45. We tried to get to a 187, but we couldn't because we were trying to sustain to stay above the $2. I know we hit to 188 at one point, I believe yesterday on some app. But I think, with respect to the level that we at right now, today is just more of a rebound from public investors, not the whale. So it's something we have to be cautious about. I think the like of actually going back down would be likely, because the scale is on the 40 of 70. So we're not like overbought, oversold, but we're leaning more towards the oversold level, but more of a neutral level. So I think going back down even more to the 187 would be a good buying opportunity. Solana, we are rebounding because of public investors, basically the drag effects, but is this sustainable? Absolutely not. We are still overbought at 50 scale of 70. We are not forming any curvature on the MACD front so far, so it's definitely going to see more sell-off from here. We're going to go down to 112 and subsequently 97. For me, 67 is still my mark to buy. And then with respect to XRP, lastly, yesterday was a really good buying opportunity per our technical analysis, right? 88 cents was a scoop, but is this a short-term scoop? I think so. I think this is mainly driven by public investors, again, being dragged up by the overall crypto market, and obviously the equity market on the rebound from the 7 negative affectation on selling off the market yesterday. So something we have to be mindful of, again, right? 78, 88 would be a good level to buy at, and these are the levels you should be watching out for. And with respect to the market dynamics, I think we're still within the panic and capitulation stage. I think we might see more panic coming up. September still have, technically like a week and a half of duration, and we might, drag out the sell-off until October, and we're gonna see like more sideways fashion until then. So, don't be surprised, just be aware of what's going to be happening going forward, and you're never really surprised, you always prepare, right? And this is the stage that we're at right now. And to stay within the frame of reference for Ethereum, again, 3,000, 2,700, 2,450, 9,800 is going to be happening in the next 12 months per my technical analysis and my quantitative models that I have built, understanding corporate adoption and the burn rates. But obviously there are other macro factors that I'm not capturing in the model that could subsequently be adjusted for. But at this moment right now, 3.3 times your money in the next 12 months should be logical. So hopefully this is helpful. It's my first update for today. Really appreciate you guys for dropping by, and hopefully you guys have a good Tuesday ahead of you guys, and stay tuned for us to come up. Take care. Bye.